public board meeting of the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners. We have an exciting evening. We've got lots of guests with us here tonight. Just actually before we open, I want to take a moment just to recognize former Baltimore City Mayor Jack Young. I'm glad he's here with us. And a whole host of other dignitaries, especially our young people, our most important dignitaries who are here with us tonight. And I appreciate everybody's patience as we got ourselves organized for the evening. But in our business of order tonight, we are going to reopen tonight's public board meeting. I'm going to now read a roll call of the board to identify who is here with us presently. Please identify yourself first before speaking for the record. Vice Chair Parker.
Vice Chair Parker, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Ames Messenger present.
Thank you. Commissioner Chicas Guzman is absent this evening. Commissioner Coy.
Commissioner Coy present.
Thank you. Commissioner Esposito.
Commissioner Esposito, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. He'll join us shortly. Commissioner Mohammed.
Mohammed present.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott Woodruff.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff present.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons.
Simmons present.
Thank you. Commissioner Slater Harrington.
Slater Harrington, present.
Welcome. And I'm also present. Is there a motion to reopen tonight's meeting?
So move, Parker.
Thank you. Vice Chair Parker. Is there a second?
Second,
Simmons.
Esposito.
I'll take Simmons for this one. Thank you so much. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker.
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger. Thank you, Commissioner Esposito.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff.
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Slater Harrington. And I'm in favor. This motion passes. I'd like to all welcome you to join us for the JROTC for the presentation of colors from Carverville Tech High School.
Center, face, color guard, halt. Evening, sir. Command Sergeant Major Bobby Bryan from Carver Vocational Technical High School requests permission to color, sir.
Permission granted.
Thank you, sir. Order, arms. Color diverse, march. Color guard, halt. Present, arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
order, arms. Colors, pose. Colors, cut.
Join me in a round of applause. Thank you so much to the team over at Carver Votech High School. Is there a motion to approve the prior open session minutes? Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. Is there a second?
Second, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger?
Yeah.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons? Commissioner Slater Harrington? And I'm in favor. This motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the closed session summaries?
So moved, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Ames Messenger.
I'll take Commissioner Ames Messenger on the second. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger?
Yeah.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons? Commissioner Slater Harrington? And I'm in favor. This motion passes. So normally I take the helm, but with my board chair comments, but tonight we have a number of guests that our CEO would like to honor. I'm going to turn it over to her first to lead us through, and then I'll take over afterwards.
Thank you so much, Chair Sally. I appreciate that. This evening, we have a number of dignitaries. I do want to acknowledge Dr. Otis Eldridge and his announcement, his official naming, not nomination, as our Teacher of the Year for 2026 for Baltimore City. And we will have a more in-depth acknowledgement of that amazing honor in Baltimore City. I just wanted to be able to acknowledge it before I leave. I do have to be at Johns Hopkins commencement. So this is why I am starting. So thank you to the board and to Chair Sally in particular. And part of why I needed and really wanted to be here this evening is to really have time to punctuate very special recognition that we have today. Every year, our partners at the Council of Great City Schools choose a recipient for the Dr. Michael Casserly Award for Educational Courage and Justice Scholarship in the amount of $10,000. That is generously funded by Curriculum Associates, who are the providers of educational technology to assist teachers in better understanding and supporting each student in real time. I am absolutely thrilled to announce that this year, a Baltimore City Schools senior was chosen for this prestigious award. Yeah. And I am pleased to welcome Dr. Michael Casserly, former Executive Director of Council of Great City Schools, I will say a longtime champion of urban school districts with an illustrious career that many superintendents across the country still call, even after his retirement, for wisdom and advice, along with Woody Paik, who is Executive Vice President of Curriculum Associates, who in a lot of ways knows our data, he and his team, better sometimes than we do. And Peggy Carr, last year's award winner, and I have to say, not only the first Black woman to lead the National Center for Educational Statistics, but for many of us, when we were in graduate school or in research organizations, Peggy Carr is, I will just say, she is the gold standard of researcher, and she is a beautiful blend of equity, of excellence, of brilliance, and we are thrilled to have all three of them here with us, and it is my pleasure as they come to the table to also introduce this year's winner, our very own City School senior, Shenardia Spruill, a senior at Western High School and the recipient of this year's award. So as they all come to the table up front, right here, all to have words, I want to read a little bit about Shenardia. Shenardia, do you mind standing so everyone gets a chance to see you, my dear? Shenardia is a senior at Western High School. She was chosen out of 55 applicants for this year's scholarship award. Both of her parents are deceased, but she is a living legacy to their lives. She has excelled academically, taking numerous AP courses. She is a Student Government Association representative and a member of the STEP team, while she also works 20 hours per week bagging groceries. She plans to attend North Carolina Central University to major in finance. And here is a quote from her application. Long-term, I want to start my own organization that connects grieving teens to mentors. because the worst part of losing my parents wasn't the funeral. It was the year after when everyone stopped checking on me. I don't want any other kid to feel that invisible. My degree will help me build something that lasts. I know I can't bring my parents back, but I can use everything I've been through to help someone else. That's the only way this makes sense. That's why I need this scholarship, not for me, but for the kid who comes after me. So first, I'm going to ask Michael Casserly and Woody Paik to talk about, and I think and Peggy Carr also to talk about why Shenardia was chosen.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Superintendent Santelises. I want to say how much I appreciate you giving us a little bit of time before the Board of School Commissioners to present this award. And Sonia, thank you for your kind words and congratulations on an extraordinary tenure here in the Baltimore City Public Schools. And I'm also, if I might say, particularly glad that your tenure was long enough for you to see the fruits of your labors because they have really been extensive. You were able to raise student achievement in the city substantially. And I have to say, personally, I am very proud of you and your colleagues across the country and the big city schools all over America are proud of you. So thank you for the great work that you have done. So I also want to say thank you to the Board of School Commissioners for picking Jermaine Dawson as your next CEO. I know Jermaine very well. He is a unique talent that will keep Baltimore on the right track and no doubt will push hard to accelerate the many gains that CEO Santelises was able to attain. So thank you and congratulations on picking such a great CEO as your next school leader. I'm Michael Casserly. I'm now the strategic advisor to the Council of the Great City Schools. I've been with the organization just 1 year shy of 50 years. 30 of those years was spent as the director of the organization. When I stepped down from the council about 5 years ago, the organization's board of directors created an award and a scholarship in my name that was meant to recognize leaders who had exhibited sustained leadership, justice, and courage on behalf of urban public education. In March of this year, we named Peggy Carr as the winner of this honor for 2026 and presented it to her at our annual legislative conference in Washington. Dr. Carr, as you see, is with us here tonight. And for many years, she was the director of the National Center for Educational Statistics. In that role, she oversaw the implementation of the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, known as the nation's report card. We worked together for many years, but thanks to her, we gained a powerful tool for gauging the progress of urban education nationally and in individual cities, including here in Baltimore. She stood with us through thick and thin because she knew we were using the results to improve urban education. That took courage because she delivered the good news and the bad when some of us would have preferred just the good. And it took a sense of justice because at the center of everything that she did was an unwavering commitment to America's public school children, particularly our urban school children. I'd like to ask Peggy now if she'd like to say a word or two about the award or about anything else that you'd like to
Well,
say.
I want to I want to echo your opening and say that I am indeed honored to be here today, to be in the presence of such leaders. Superintendent, I have followed you since you were a student, and I've seen you blossom and do what you did this year was, oh, very heartening. That education scorecard, when I saw it and I saw what Baltimore did, I could not have been more of a fan of you than I have for many, many years. Thank you for this audience today, and thank Mike Casserly, who I sort of grew up with and matured in my role as not just the Commissioner for the National Center for Education Statistics, but also the face of NAEP or the National Assessment of Educational Progress. You might know it as the nation's report card for over 35 years. It was a labor of love, and it had many milestones. But I would say the most notable milestone was when Mike Casserly and his colleagues came to us at the National Center and the National Assessment Governing Board and said, I have a big idea. We need to include the nation's big cities in that report card. They have to have a voice, regardless of what these data show. And Mike Casserly wasn't just an advocate. He went to Congress, he got us the funds, he was the wings underneath ourselves. So I want to thank you. I was indeed honored to receive this award, but I can tell you, the young lady who's going to receive it today is really the star of the show here. Congratulations. I read your essay, and the quote that we heard today was just as heartening as it was when I read it in print. I have three pieces of information that I want you to take with you, or recommendations as you move on to your next path in life. I want to congratulate you on vision, on having vision at a time when we need it. We're at a moment in this country when people need to have vision about where we can go despite the challenges that we're all facing here. So keep that vision and not have it just about you. And that's what I heard in your statement. I like the fact that you're going to focus on finance. Boy, do we need finance. I won't get into why we need it, but it's correlated with the first point, that we need vision about how we're going to find ourselves on the other side. And so thank you for doing that. And then one other piece of recommendation I have that I bet you thought you didn't know was coming. I also went to North Carolina Central University. NCCU, that was my undergrad, and it was fun. And so I guess my first recommendation is don't do what I did that very first semester. Be focused. You're going to love Durham. I will put in a word for you to stay away from those Aggies down there. That would be the only concern, but enjoy it. The HBCU world will hug you, they will nurture you, and they will prepare you for your next step. Congratulations.
Thank you, Peggy. As the CEO mentioned, with this award comes a $10,000 scholarship that is sponsored by the Council of the Great City School Associates, whose generosity I am most grateful for. And here tonight from Curriculum Associates is Executive Vice President Woody Peck, I believe Vice President Sonia Coleman, and Educational Consultant Angie Hale from Curriculum Associates is here as well. But Woody, would you like to say a word?
Sure, thank you. First of all, thank you for having us. We're delighted to be here. Shenardia, I just want to say on behalf of Curriculum Associates, we are so incredibly proud and privileged and just really happy to play a small part in the great things you're going to do with your life. And the reason I know you're going to do great things in your life is because I read your essay very carefully. In fact, I read it to my entire family. And a couple things, I read a lot of these, and a couple things stood out to me. It's called Keeping the Beat for Them. The essay was about others. It wasn't about you, which is really unusual. You talked about extending library hours to support your students' preparation for finals. You talked about supporting your aunt. You talked about living up to your parents' legacy. You talked about serving those who have faced similar challenges to you. And that selflessness is why I know you're going to do great things in your life. So I thank you in advance for making this world a better place. And congratulations.
Peggy Carr's long roots in Maryland, despite the fact that she went to college in North Carolina. We have chosen a student from the Baltimore City Public Schools to receive this scholarship. After careful deliberation, the Council of the Great City Schools is pleased to present this $10,000 scholarship tonight to Shenardia Spruill, who is graduating from Western High School this spring and plans, as you heard, to attend North Carolina Central University this fall. Ms. Spruill was chosen because of her strong academic record, her determination, her incredible strength in overcoming adversity, and her willingness to use her considerable talents to improve the world we live in with courage and justice. I was particularly struck in the essay she submitted for the scholarship by her desire to use her knowledge and skills to major in business administration, marketing, and finance, and to work at and maybe even start a nonprofit organization so other young people without parents would not have to face the barriers she did. This is a big idea, an idea that can improve the lives of many people and advance the world we live in at exactly the time we need that kind of advocacy and courage. It is an idea grounded in courage, inspired by justice, exactly what this award was established for. I am most pleased to have chosen Shenardia Spruill as this year's recipient of the scholarship that goes with Peggy's award. She is most deserving and is an excellent example of the many talented and accomplished students that our nation's urban public schools produce and that Baltimore produces. And I must say, in reading carefully all 55 or 60 applications that we got for this scholarship, it was very difficult to pick just one. You are producing excellent talent out of this system. I expect that we will hear much more from Shenardia over the years. Shenardia, we believe in you. Please study hard, be true to the dream that you have, and stay in touch. Finally, I congratulate and thank Shenardia's teachers, her schools, and the Baltimore Public School System for their excellent work in guiding and supporting Ms. Spruill on her road to the future. I believe her principal may be here too. I'm not sure. Brittany Horn. If she's here, I'd like to acknowledge her and say job well done. Finally, I want to thank Tanya Harris, the Council's Communications Director, for her excellent work in organizing this scholarship. None of this would have happened without her work. Now I'd like to ask Shenardia if you'd like to say anything at all.
All I can really say is thank you all. Thank you for the team that managed for me to earn this scholarship. And words cannot explain how I really feel. I just want to say thank you.
And Tanya, if you have the big check.
Yeah, bring it down.
Probably your first lesson in finance and business administration in college be that you cannot actually. On the other hand. Right.
So while we're wrapping up this honor, I was just asking Dr. S if I could just take a point of privilege here. Congratulations. This is very exciting. I really appreciate the partnership, the acknowledgement of the hard work of our young people here in Baltimore City, the promise they have for our future. And I also just want to take a moment of just personal and professional privilege just to thank Dr. Carr. So as many of you know, I'm a former employee of the U.S. Department of Education. I worked there for many years on the Title I team and had an opportunity to collaborate with Dr. Carr around the NAEP assessment. And the work I still do professionally today is working with children who live on tribal lands. And so Dr. Carr has been a fierce advocate for the National Indian Education Study, which also looks at a comparison set of data between Indian children who receive services from the Bureau of Indian Education, all Native American children in public schools, and all of our children nationally. And so that work that has sustained for many years would not be possible without Dr. Carr's leadership at the helm of NCS. So we appreciate very much just your service and the groundwork that you've laid to ensure that we know where our children are performing over longitudinal. That longitudinal data is really important. Important marker for schools, both in urban areas, rural communities, and states. So that wouldn't be possible without your leadership. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I will now officially turn it back to Chair Sally.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dr. Santalisa. This is a good way to kick off our meeting this evening. And usually I take the privilege of doing most of the chair comments, but I'm going to share this privilege with my board colleagues this evening. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Simmons to lead us off.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 19th Public Board Meeting. Thanks for being here. As we gather this evening, we recognize May as Mental Health Awareness Month, a time to reflect on the importance of emotional wellness for our students, staff, and families. We know that strong mental health supports are essential to student success, positive school environments, and overall well-being for all of us. Through the expanded school behavioral health program, students have access to prevention, early intervention, and behavioral health services. The program works alongside several community-based partners to help meet the mental health needs of our students across the district. If you are concerned about a student's mental health, please contact your school's behavioral health specialist. In addition to city schools, in-person mental health programming, the district partners with Hazel Telehealth to offer free telehealth services for all district students with guardian consent delivered at home. Visit the School Health Services webpage for more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Simmons. I really appreciate it. So at our last public board meeting, I had the honor of recognizing Teacher Appreciation Week, uplifting the extraordinary commitment, the resilience, and the impact of teachers and educators throughout the nation. Turn it over to Commissioner Scott Woodruff to take us forward.
Sure, thank you. In a city as vibrant and complex as Baltimore, we know that the work of educators carries even greater meaning. Our teachers often inspire students to see possibilities beyond their immediate circumstances. And today we are honored again to uplift an educator that goes above and beyond for our students. Dr. Otis Eldridge is a true son of Baltimore. a graduate of Baltimore City Public Schools, and a 3-time graduate of Morgan State University. He has spent more than 11 years inspiring students across the Mid-Atlantic as a band director, music teacher, and arts integration specialist. As a member at large for the Maryland Music Educators Association, he helps shape arts education policy across the state. His work is rooted in a deep belief in the brilliance and potential of every child. Please join us in celebrating Dr. Eldridge as his newest achievement as the 2026 City Schools Teacher of the Year.
This time, we'd love to invite you up, Dr. Eldridge, as well as Principal Pouncey, to come talk about your incredible work and what you've done. And so we can have a chance to just hear a little bit from you and the incredible impact that you're making in Hamilton.
Okay, there we go. I'm a music guy, so I gotta make sure the equipment's working. So we're just going to go. You wanna go first?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, I've been telling everybody I'm the principal of the Teacher of the Year. That is going to be on my signature now. And, I am just in awe of everything that you are. When I started this journey 6 years ago, you were right there by my side, starting with me. And what you have done at Hamilton, the program, how it has been built out, the students, the access that you have provided. The thing that touches me most is your heart. You care deeply about our kids. What you see is truly what you get. So I'm just honored to be on this journey with you, and all the accolades that you are getting, well deserved. So it is all yours. Take that floor that you deserve.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank my principal, because without her, I wouldn't be here. She definitely supported me, and she's part of the reason that I was able to win Teacher of the Year. So whenever you see someone that won Teacher of the Year, know that they also have an amazing principal. It's not possible to do it without an amazing principal. So give her her flowers. For myself, I think that my life is a testament to never giving up. I was born and raised in this city. My parents did not graduate high school. So sometimes when people look into the eyes of children, they don't see the possibilities. I want you to all understand that we need to reformat and rethink what we think our children are worthy of. I was born here. I went to the public schools. I didn't go to private schools. I didn't go to Catholic schools. I didn't go to charter schools. Not to disparage any of those types of schools, but I went to the schools that everyone had to go to. Okay? I went to Utah Marshburn, Booker T. Washington. That's where I started in the band. And that experience changed my life. Many people have things to say about the American education system, but what we really need to understand is that we take everyone. We take the poor kids. We take the kids that other schools reject. I was one of those kids. Please understand the opportunity that I was given in the 6th grade to join the band at Booker T. Washington Middle School is the reason I'm here today. There's a clear trajectory from a decision that I made in the 6th grade to who I am as a 40-year-old man. So when we look at these schools and we don't have bands in them, please understand that you are squashing possibilities. There are Otis Eldridges. I'm a doctor of education. I'm from here. Please understand it's not random. The investments that were made into my schools are a direct reason why I'm here today. So as the school board and as people who are interested in education, I want you to leave here, please understand that whatever you think the kids are worthy of, they're worthy of more. Because I started in band, I'm sorry, I'm gonna let y'all clap if y'all wanna do that. But because I started in band, that took me to college. I got a scholarship in college to be in the band. I majored in music and became a music teacher. It's not random, people. When we invest in kids, we're investing in the future of what we want society to be. Today, I'm a tax-paying, married citizen. We're about to become a family. I'm doing everything y'all saying y'all want kids to do. And where did it start? School for me was the opportunity. It wasn't outside of school. I couldn't depend on my parents to take me to games and outside and extracurricular activities. My mom had to go to work. She was like, boy, you better go there and do what them people telling you to do. So when I think about what I do and why I do it, it's because I understand how valuable these children really are. And they need the best teachers. They need people who wake up thinking about them. I take the same approach that anyone would take in any other career. I'm serious about what I do. I am a professional, and I come here to work every single day. So I don't vibe with the teachers who don't come to work. They see me and they like, what is bro doing? Like, he doing too much. No, I'm doing just enough because I know what these kids deserve. And when you come here and you come to Baltimore, I need you to come with that type of zeal. I look at all of these children like my children. I'm a community parent. That's something I've grown to accept. Okay? I give Band-Aids, I give hugs, I tie shoes, I give snacks, all of the things that any parent would do. Because when they come through that door, it's my turn. And I think that if you're not prepared to take on that responsibility, then you might need to do something else. No disrespect to anyone, but this is why I'm Teacher of the Year, because I look at these kids like they're mine. Just like I look at kids everywhere like they're mine, because this is my home. I'm an American, whether y'all want me or not. I am. I ain't going nowhere. Everything that I've achieved in this country because of Maryland, because of Baltimore. So I love my country. I love my state, and I love my city. And I'm going to continue to love it. And this is the way that I give back, by working in the schools. When I look at myself and I say, does what you do, does it matter? I know it does. Thank you.
Dr. Eldridge, I just want to thank you so much for those passionate words. What you've been doing at Hamilton is really important, and it is a feather in Principal Pouncey's cap, because to have excellent teachers does require an excellent leader. And what's going on in Hamilton is what you're doing, as well as what Principal Pouncey is doing, and the investment that we've all been making in arts across the district. I'm so glad to hear. And Hamilton is not the school it used to be. It is a different place, and it shows. And the investment that we've been making in arts is real, and you're a product of that, both from your childhood. I appreciate hearing that. And then in the last 10 years, I don't know the numbers exactly, but we had around 174 art teachers, I think, when Dr. Santelises started, and we're over 300 now. And so that investment is really important. And your experience at Booker T is really interesting, given a Teacher of the Year before you, Jared Perry, is also a band instructor and at Booker T, and they're doing great work there. And you can go throughout our schools across the city and find exceptional work going on in the arts. And it is just a pleasure to watch teachers like you bringing the school day alive for their students and really making them feel like they've been seen and heard and that they belong. And it couldn't be more important what you do. We're so grateful to you. And so want to make sure that we're also recognizing you with the certificate. Dr. Santelises would have loved to be here, but what you've done is so important. Oh, one last thing I want to say is that the other person I think we need to thank today is Sharonda Ely, who you follow a long line. Sharonda Ely preps all of our Teachers of the Year for their interviews for the city, and then of course for the state level too. And we are dominant in the state category. So I suspect you will follow the long line of our folks who make the state level. So in recognition of professional excellence, diligence, and service to our students and families, Baltimore City Public Schools and the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners are pleased to recognize Dr. Otis Eldridge, Baltimore City Public Schools Teacher of the Year 2026.
Hold on one. So it's always exciting. This time of year, we do our Teacher Appreciation Week, our Teacher of the Year. And I also want to just thank just the tremendous work that's happening in all of our city schools, and take just one more point of privilege to say, I ran into Miss Mohammed, who's the vice principal over at Hamilton Elementary Middle. And she was so excited. She was radiant and beaming, and reminded me this is the one classroom I have not visited at Hamilton. And so she's like, you need to come next week. And so, so I look forward to that visit coming soon. So congratulations again. It's well deserved and well honored. And now turn it over to our vice chair to wrap us up.
All right, so this has been a really heart filling. I'm like, where are the ushers with the tissues? This this has been a great celebration. So I want to keep the celebration going by recognizing my colleague, Commissioner Ashley Esposito, who has served on our board for several years. She recently earned her Master of Business Administration with concentration in nonprofit management from the University of Maryland Global Campus last weekend, I believe. Her commitment to continuing her education reflects the same dedication to growth, leadership, and service that she brings to our students and school community each day. Balancing public service while pursuing a graduate degree is no small accomplishment. This achievement speaks to her perseverance and passion for making lasting impacts in our community. Thank you for all that you do for our students, our families, and staff. Please join us in congratulating Commissioner Esposito on this incredible milestone.
Congratulations. That's a well-deserved honor as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a good day of celebrations here. Right. To bring us back to our business for the evening. So we're going to now move to public comment. Actually, I think that's yours as well.
Yes. Let's move through it.
I'm sorry.
You want us to do PEP first?
Oh, okay.
PEP after.
Let's do that first. Okay, we can
Okay.
do that. We were just discussing that. We have a change of agenda, so things get out of order a little bit. So is there a motion? This is item, for those who are following along on our agenda this evening, this is items 5.01 through 5.06. It's the approval of the personnel, employment, and payroll and appeals and hearings. Is there a motion to approve the PEP and appeals hearing?
So moved, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Simmons.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, Commissioner Mohammed. Commissioner Scott Woodruff,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons. Thank you. Commissioner Slater Harrington, and I'm in favor. This motion passes. Now we'll move to public comment.
All right. Public comment is shared by our district recognized groups and the general public. Representatives from our recognized groups will have the opportunity to share public comment first for 5 minutes each. Afterwards, the general public may share. A reminder to all groups and individuals sharing public comment that content regarding personnel decisions that may be subject to appeals cannot be discussed during this portion of the evening. First, we have Associated Student Congress for Baltimore City, Alina Naveed, by a pre-recorded video.
Dear Chair Sally and other members of the Baltimore City Public School Board, my name is Alina Naveed and I'm a sophomore at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, and I am giving testimony on behalf of ASCBC. The main matter I want to discuss was the ASCBC elections. Any student in a Baltimore City Public Schools in grades 6 to 12 can vote. To vote, go to eballot.app/BCPS. To find more information about the candidates, please go to ASCBC's Google site and click on Elections. The list of candidates is below. There are 3 candidates for the office of Student Commissioner: Courtly Witherspoon, Taylor Frayling Taylor, and Zion Pervan. There are 2 candidates for the office of ASCBC President: Jerome Brooks and Kizra Ehsan. There are 2 candidates for the office of ASCBC Vice President: Benjamin H. Grimaldi and James Smith Jr. There is 1 candidate for the office of ASCBC Treasurer, Teron Taylor. There are 2 candidates for the office of ASCBC Secretary, Elizabeth Ibosuela and Zaina Shah. There are 2 candidates for the office of ASCBC Diversity Committee Chair, Amir Bryce Matthews and Suma Eze. There is 1 candidate for the office of ASCBC Middle School Executive, Josu Reyes. Voting in ASCBC elections is highly important. That is why we have devoted our whole testimony tonight to it. Every student can vote and every student should vote. If you are a student, please go to eballot.app/BCPS and vote. Spread the word about the elections with your friends as well and get them to vote. If you're a teacher or an administrator, please give your students some time during advisory, a free period, or an equivalent to vote in the ASCBC elections. We are trying to reach 8,000 students voting this year, and getting there requires every student, every SGA, and every school to play a part. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Secondly, we have Diana DeSerto, member from BTU, by pre-recorded video.
Good evening. My name is Diana. I'm a speech language pathologist for the district. I'll speak about the retention of our international educators. On behalf of the BTU International Committee, thank you for recognizing AAPI Month and continuing to highlight the diversity in our schools. We also appreciate ongoing meetings with human capital. An educator shortage persists in city schools. Given the challenges of our international educator recruitment, we are asking for stronger, more consistent support for our international educators. From understanding and accepting a job offer with city schools to arrival and housing, and throughout their time employed in the district. International educators are adjusting to both the new school system, to a new country, and they need a sustained, structured support. We value professional learning communities, PLC opportunities as part of a system of support. Our members benefit from the PLCs for collaboration and shared problem solving. These types of specific support for international educators help build connection, consistency, and retention of international educators across the city schools. The recruitment process for international educators has remained disorganized for years and continues to place an unfair financial burden on the educators our schools rely on. The practice persists both officially and through unsanctioned networks where international teacher recruits are required to pay thousands of dollars in agency fees to secure employment. Others pay additional broker fees to handlers who still prey on city school international recruits via legacy contracts and previous city employees. International teachers use their wages to cover visa renewal costs and loans from their home country used to pay the initial visa application fee. Educators should not have to use their wages to maintain their ability to work in this district. What kind of employer relies on a class of worker to use their wages to pay to work? This year, the number of international hires has dropped significantly, with only 7 international teachers were hired for the 26-27 school year. This major shift in international teacher hiring is partly due to challenges at the federal level. The international teacher recruitment pipeline highlights the need for a clear, transparent recruitment and retention plan. It also signals the need for a stronger overall strategy that includes expanded domestic recruitment. Non-renewals of current J1 and H1B educators raise concerns about consistency in how school leaders support our international staff. There are as many or more non-renewals of J1 and H1B holders this year as there are new international educator hires for the 26-27 school year. Instead of identifying placements that align with district staffing needs for current international educators on J1 and H1B visas, some educators are simply not renewed. This is despite the district's financial investment in visa sponsorship. This is costing the district money it has already spent on these workers. This approach negatively impacts teachers, students, and school communities while undermining long-term staffing stability across the district. The drop in international teacher hiring and the practice of non-renewals of international educators is just one system of a much larger concern. The board must conduct a review of our international recruitment strategy, including stronger efforts to recruit within the U.S. Why are city schools not actively recruiting licensed teachers from other regions, such as the South or in the Midwest? With less spending on H-1B visas due to fewer international hires, funds could be redirected towards broader national recruitment efforts. We ask for the following: a clear, transparent recruitment retention plan for international educators that reduces turnover and prevents non-renewals. 2, review international educator non-renewals, particularly H-1B educators, to ensure decisions are consistent, equitable, and aligned with financial investments. Next, we ask for greater transparency to ensure international educators receive contracts at the time of hire and clear compensation packages. Written communication outlining salary and first pay date prior to arrival. Early, clear guidance on licensure requirements, including support for obtaining and maintaining a Maryland educator professional license. A comprehensive professional orientation program that includes ongoing support in student demographics and school culture, classroom management, evaluation systems, parent and community engagement, as well as a structured cultural orientation program that includes access to local resources such as transportation, healthcare, banking, and community services, with support extended to families when appropriate. The international educators are an important part of our district workforce. Addressing teacher shortages means we are serious about supporting and retaining the educators we bring here. We hope the district continues working with the BTU International Committee to help international educators feel supported, valued, safe, and welcome both in the United States and in the Baltimore community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Third, we have Sheila Billups, Chair of CCAC, and she is in person.
Good evening, everyone. Both in the building and those are virtual. Glad to be here tonight. This was a very emotional, happy time in the building. Congratulations to all. I have just a few announcements. The first one is that the transition fair was a major success in Baltimore City. The vendors, as well as those who participated, gave great rewards. So I'm glad that went off. And I think it because we talk about it here at this meeting, so more people got to understand how important that transition fair was. So thank you for allowing me to speak about it. Our last meeting of this year will be June the 8th, here in this building on the 3rd floor, room 301. I'm sorry to say that no one come forward to take over any of the positions of this committee. So therefore, I will be here until we I will be here too. I will be here until we get someone to replace me. However, we've decided to talk about CCAT during the last month and as well as this month is who, what, and why do we have CCAT? Maybe if they understand how important this committee is, that they will be a part of it. I'm challenging everyone in this room that knows somebody that's in special ed, whether it be an instructor, principal, student, and or parent, to come out to these meetings. We held every second Monday of the month. I have quite a few people that have retired in different related services that come and say how much they have learned that they can take back to community to support those that are in special ed. So I'm challenging you in this room, think of somebody and contact them and tell them how important this is. Also, June the 7th, there's going to be a great community health festival that's partnered with Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. The location will be 3500 Northern Parkway. It will have food, child's play, yoga, vending booths, and mobile health screening. This is going to be 3 to 5. If you all have anybody, just come by and see what's happening, because I think Mount Washington coming into the community is a big thing. That's where I started my nursing career at, so I like Mount Washington. Also, one more, and I must take my seat. The Maryland Department of Disabilities is having a focus group to talk about job training and employment for those with disabilities. It's going to be both virtual and in person. It's going to be Thursday, May 28th at 9 a.m. You can go to that website and pull up the Disability Employment Focus Group, and you can log in and register. That's a biggie for this group to come forward, because after they graduate, they need jobs. So this will help them get the right information so that they can get employed. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. I do want to say before you go, I was not able to go to the transfer fair, but transition guests, I'm sorry. But my son went, and I have like a video of him down there dancing and all of that. So when I'm able, I'll make sure you get to see it. So the students really did have a good time and all of that. So thank you.
One more thing. We're changing our bylaws a little bit. I forgot to talk about that. The bylaws are changing. We have student representation, and they have all these crazy, they have all these laws preventing certain students to be a part of CCAT. They have to have a B average and all. We're going to do away with all that this summer, and we're coming up with new bylaws that would include any child, whether they got a device to speak for them, whether they're in a wheelchair, whether they're blind. We want them to be a part of this. So we looking forward those students to have a voice in the education. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd just like to take a moment just to thank Ms. Billups for her service and to challenge our community to step up. That role is critically important in terms of advocacy for our young people who have disabilities, who have different learning needs in our system. And we need somebody as passionate as Ms. Billups, as dedicated and committed as Ms. Billups is to this work and to ensuring that these students, our parents, our families all have a voice in their education here in Baltimore City. And so Ms. Billups, myself, or anybody on the board will be happy to talk about what that opportunity looks like. And so that is a challenge I'm putting out there to our community, is for someone to step up, not only to lead CCAC, but to join and be a part of that board and community. So she's not, and we appreciate your committed, continued leadership. So thank you, Ms. Billups. So I'd now like to turn it over to our Chief of Staff, Allison Perkins Cohen, who is pitch hitting for Dr. Santelises for the remainder of the meeting to take us through our PEP for the evening.
Thank you, Board Chair. So I'm going to call up Human Capital Chief Emily Nielsen to read the PEP.
Thank you, Chief Perkins Cohen. Good evening, Board of Commissioners. If you are being recognized on tonight's PEP and are here with us in person, if you can stand when I read your name so we can acknowledge you. From the Board of School Commissioners, an interim appointment recommended that Mary Ann Cox, currently Deputy Chief Financial Officer, be appointed Deputy Chief Financial Officer and Interim Director of Internal Audit, effective May 30th, 2026. From the Office of the Chief of Schools, appointments recommended that Molly Bloom, currently principal with South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice, be appointed Principal Eager Street Academy effective June 27th, 2026. Recommended that Javon Carter, currently Educational Associate 12-month at Morrell Park Elementary Middle School, be appointed Assistant Principal at Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School effective June 27th, 2026. Recommended that Jamel Crandall, currently resident principal at Forest Park High School, be appointed principal at Success Academy West effective June 27, 2026. Recommended that Jason Lewis, currently manager school operations and support, be appointed assistant principal at Vanguard Collegiate Middle School effective June 27, 2026. Recommended that Stephanie Mojibola, currently teacher elementary at Fort Worthington Elementary Middle School, be appointed assistant principal at Arundel Elementary School effective June 27, 2026. Recommended that Shakia Shepherd, currently resident principal at Moravia Park Elementary School, be appointed principal at Falstaff Elementary effective June 27, 2026.
To give her full due, can you say what school she's going to one more time?
Yes, Falstaff Elementary Middle School. And finally, memorializing an external assignment, recommended that Carl Perry, currently principal on external assignment, be appointed principal on external assignment with the Public School Administrators and Supervisors Administration, PAZZA, effective July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Congratulations to everyone on tonight's PEP agenda.
Thank you, Chief Nielsen. And so now, as part of our tradition, we're going to read, I will read a little bit more about each of the principals who were just approved. So principals, you can stand up when I read your name. So Jamel Crandall is first. Jamel Crandall has served 23 years as a teacher, school counselor, and managing assistant principal at city schools, including experience as managing assistant principal at one of our alternative option programs. Most recently, he served as the resident principal at Forest Park High School. Principal Crandall holds a bachelor's degree from St. John's University and a master's degree from Hofstra University. Congratulations. Shakia Shepherd. Principal Shakia Shepherd has served as an educator, instructional coach, and assistant principal in city schools for the past 12 years, most recently as resident principal at Moravia Park Elementary School. She earned her bachelor's degree in education from Penn State University and a master's degree from Lesley University. Congratulations. Molly Bloom. Molly here? No. Okay, Molly Bloom returns to city schools from the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice, where she served as a principal. She began her career as a special educator in Digital Harbor High School. Ms. Bloom holds degrees from Northeastern University, Johns Hopkins University, and the University of South Carolina, and is currently a doctoral candidate in special education at the University of South Carolina. Congratulations, Ms. Bloom. And then I'm going to continue with my remarks, just a few remarks for the night and updates on things. So when we were talking earlier and CGCS was here, we were talking, there was a lot of reference to the educational scorecard. So I just want to take a minute to talk about the outcomes in the education scorecard. So the scorecard is a collaboration between educational researchers at Harvard and Stanford, and it assesses students' academic outcomes and growth in school districts across the country. It was released last week, and the scorecard particularly highlights Baltimore City schools for improving faster in literacy and math in grades 3 through 8 than their peers nationally and across Maryland. In fact, Baltimore had the largest increases in reading achievement of large urban districts, both pre-pandemic to 2025, so from 2019 to 2025, and post-pandemic from 2022 to 2025. As a result, city schools we continue to narrow the achievement gaps according to the latest scorecard results. Our literacy and math growth rate is consistent across its largest student groups, including our Black students, Hispanic students, and economically disadvantaged students. Each of those groups exceeded both its own pre-pandemic learning rate from 2019 and the national average growth rate during that same period. It's a huge accomplishment. Also, a couple reminders. I want to remind everyone about the Heart of the Schools Award celebration tomorrow night at the Hippodrome Theater, with thanks to our partners at the Fund for Educational Excellence. It's a wonderful event, so if you can go and have tickets, you should go. It's a great way that we celebrate all of our principals and are so grateful to our partners for doing that. And finally, please plan to attend our Day of Peace and Remembrance next Friday, May 29th at 10 a.m. right here in front of the North Avenue entrance, when we will commemorate the city school students we've lost to gun violence in the past school year. That concludes my remarks for the evening.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that and the pitch hitting this evening on all of these important matters. So thank you. So we'll now return to general public comment this evening. Before we go through our normal public comment from our public, which we do appreciate, I'd like to welcome up former Baltimore City Mayor Jack Young for comments for us this evening. This is our normal transition from our principals to our business at hand. So we appreciate everybody who's moving quickly, and we'll continue with tonight's important agenda. So Mayor Young, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the board. I want to thank Dr. Santelises for the great work that she have done as she go to do better things nationally. Thank you, Ms. Perkins Cohen, for all that you have done for the city school system. But I'm here tonight to talk about Northern Senior High School. As a 1973 graduate of Northern, and I ain't that old, y'all, so don't look at me like that. Northern was one of the top schools in the city at one time. And I know that the name change happened prior to, me being informed, because if I had known that, I'd have been fighting for that, because I was in office during that time. I was a councilman, then I became president of city council, then I became the mayor. And we want to be just like City Poly and Western and any other school, where they can point to their school. We can't point to our school. But I'm here today to ask you all to please consider supporting Reginald F. Lewis at the Northern campus. And we would also like to have that name in the front of the school building where it always have been, not in the back. And as I looked at how schools' name have changed, the school system paid for it. So I don't understand why they're asking our alumni association to pay to put a name back up on the school. So I'm asking you all to support us in making sure that the school name go back in the front of the school, and that the cost of putting that name back on their school building is incurred by the Baltimore City Public School System. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Young. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for those comments this evening. We'll consider those as we move through our public comment.
Thank you. And I was a big supporter of new schools. Don't y'all forget that.
And I thank all of our alumni. I know how important that is to each and every one of our high schools here in Baltimore City, whether they continue in their current form or they morph into new forms for new schools. I'm going to now turn over to Dewana Starrett from our board office to carry us through the rest of general public comment this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first public comment is from Kristen Harrison, and the topic is the renaming of Reginald F. Lewis High School campus. She writes, "My name is Kristen Harrison. I'm a proud alumna and I serve on the executive board for the Northern Viking Alumni Association. The overall voting process has been enlightening. It was encouraging to see students, faculty, and community leaders and members come together for such a significant purpose in the legacy of any school housed in that building. This process has caused all of us to move better together, see things from a different perspective, and to fine-tune interactions. It reminded us that meaningful work and collaboration often come with passionate conversations, differing perspectives, and the responsibility to remain focused on the bigger picture. That bigger picture involves legacy, partnership, and vision for all those involved. With a successful vote, our work does not stop here. Our next steps are to continue raising funds for the renaming project, remain committed to the promises we've made throughout this process, and support Reginald F. Lewis High School where we can with resources available to us. We believe including at the Northern Campus reflects more than just the name. It represents our desire to remain actively and connected to the school, its surrounding community, and being included and engaged in the decision-making process that impacts its future. As we move forward, we want to bridge gaps, strengthen relationships, and work collaboratively with the principal and school leadership to support the students, staff, and overall vision of the school. We will continue the mission of our organization with the same dedication and purpose that brought us to this moment. Our hope continues to be partnership built on communication, shared responsibility, and a genuine commitment to progress. Progress is not just about one vote, but about what we choose to build together afterward. The second is a email to be read from Eunice Herring, and the topic is the Reginald F. Lewis Northern High School name merger. Dear board members, it is truly an honor to present at this school board meeting and to stand alongside my former students as we represent the proud legacy of Northern High School. Northern High School is part of my DNA. It is woven into my heritage and holds a special place in my heart. My tenure started at Northern High School in the year of 1967 and ended in 2002. I encourage you to pass this proposal as it would bring me immense joy as I spent countless hours supporting the school's business education programs and youth development initiatives. I had the privilege of assisting with programs such as the Future Business Leaders of America and Community of Caring, a character education program designed to help students grow both academically and personally. Through these programs, many students participated in work-study opportunities and excelled in the professional environments where they were placed. Today, I am proud to say that some of those same students have gone on to become accountants, lawyers, and other successful professionals. What brings me the greatest fulfillment is knowing that many of them have remained in touch with me over the years. Beyond the students, I have also built lasting relationships with their parents, relationships that have grown into something much deeper. Over time, we have become like family. That is what Northern High School represents to me, a true legacy of learning, connection, support, and community. It would mean so much to see the Northern name restored alongside the Reginald F. Lewis High School, allowing future generations to experience the same pride and sense of belonging that so many of us hold dear. Respectfully submitted, Eunice Rogers Herring.
I want to thank Ms. Herring for joining us here in person this evening. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
And the next public comment is a person commenting here in person, Sandra Martinez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, Sandra couldn't make it. She had an emergency with her daughter, so she's currently in the hospital, but I want to read her testimony as it's a really strong testimony. My name is Sandra Martinez. I'm a Baltimore City resident and a mother of 5 with 3 children currently attending Baltimore City school, public schools. My oldest is in 12th grade at National Academy Foundation. My daughter is in 9th grade at William S. Bear School, and my youngest in the 4th grade is at Highlandtown Elementary Middle School. I am here today as a parent who lives with the consequences of the decisions you make. One of my children has a disability and asthma, and frequently experience serious health issues that sometimes send us to the emergency room. This is a reality, and it is a reality that I believe you have the power to help and change. The diesel school buses our kids ride every day release exhausted that makes breathing harder, especially for children who already struggle like mine. I am not a scientist, but I am a mother who has sat in an emergency room with my child and wonder what we could have done differently. Electric school buses will not only solve everything, but they could help, and we already know that they work. 2 years ago, Baltimore City launched electric school buses, 25 buses on the road. That was real progress, and our family celebrated. But since that day, we have heard nothing, no updates, no progress report, no answers to the most basic questions any parents will ask. How is it going? And what comes next? Whether a child breathes cleaner air on the way to school still depends on which route they ride. That does not feel right to me. As a parent, every child deserves the same. What our families need most is simply to be told that they are planning it, to know what our children have not been forgotten, and that the progress we celebrated 2 years ago is still moving forward. A clear timeline, a commitment to making sure that the most impacted children are not last in line, and a way for families to stay informed as this move forward. We are not here to make this harder for you. We understand there are real decisions to make and real constraints to navigate. We are here because our families want to be part of this solution, and we can only do that if we know what you're planning to electrify the school bus fleet is. My child cannot keep waiting for clean air on the way to school, and I believe this board understands that. Thank you.
The next person to comment is Andy Dieguez. I hope I pronounced your name properly.
So,
For the record, just to make sure we have it pronounced correctly, we'll have to start with pronunciation.
all right. Well, I have an intro. Good evening, Board of School Commissioners. My name is Andy Dieguez, and I am an 8th grade student that is attending Amsterdale Academy. I'm here with my little brother Manny, who's sitting next to my mother, who suffers with asthma and autism, along with many other students and parents. We are supported by Chispa, Maryland, which has helped my family understand how air pollution, including diesel from school buses, are harming our health. This is a problem that is already affecting us today, but my brother is one of the lucky students who rides one of the electric school buses. So we know what a clean, safe ride should look like. So my question is, why isn't that the standard for every student that's here in Baltimore? Children like my brother already struggle to breathe, and diesel fumes make it worse. Many students in Baltimore have asthma. Diesel buses release pollution that triggers asthma attacks, damages our lungs, and puts our health at a risk every single day when we go to school. You have the power to change that. And right now, we are still waiting for answers and updates on the 25 electric school buses that you already have. Without updates or a plan, we do not know other students will have the opportunity to ride a safer, cleaner electric school bus. That's why we are encouraging the board to take a next step and plan for other students to also ride an electric school bus like my brother, Manny. If you share a plan with us, we can understand the progress you are making and what comes next. Every year without a plan is another year of not knowing when we will have another electric school bus. And every year you purchase a diesel school bus, it's another 12 years of that bus will be transporting students and polluting the air. Manny always says that he likes a new bus. Can we do the same for all the other students that are here in Baltimore? I believe every student deserves the same opportunity as my little brother, and we will want to make that happen. Lastly, I want to take the opportunity to invite you all to a webinar next Thursday, May 28th at 6 p.m., where you will learn more about the benefits of electrical school buses have in our health. Thank you for listening, and I will pass out 3 flyers to share among y'all.
Thank you so much. We'll pass those down to everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And the last public comment is an email to be read from Francis Turner. It is about overcrowding at Thomas Johnson Elementary Middle School. Good evening. I am Francis Turner, a longtime city resident. My family has lived in South Baltimore since 2008. Our family is zoned for Thomas Johnson Elementary Middle School in Riverside Park. My daughter is a rising kindergartner, and we hope for her to complete her elementary middle school education at TJEMS before moving to a city high school. I'm writing about my concerns with overcrowding and at TJEMS and schools like it. In the most recent enrollment cycle, 85 city families ranked the school as their first choice, with only 38 seats available for its 2 pre-K classrooms. Many zoned families, I confirm at least 8, did not get an offer. I know that zoning is not a criteria for pre-K placement. I also know that the out-of-zone families will be invited to stay at Thomas Johnson past pre-K. Thus, I am concerned about the overcrowding that will happen in kindergarten in 2 years when the zone families also enroll their children. Currently, Thomas Johnson has 2 K classes with 25 kids each. It is possible that when this incoming cohort of pre-K students move up to kindergarten, their classrooms will have more than 25. I know that there is no cap for kindergarten. That is just scary. In addition, the current zoning of the Baltimore Peninsula, formerly Port Covington, to Thomas Johnson Elementary Middle School exacerbates this overcrowding issue. What is the district's plan with regards to seating all these children, zoned and out of zone? Other neighborhood schools are experiencing the same problem, and Thomas Johnson is a wonderful school that scores exceptionally well and is rated best school in the city, yet its classes are bursting in their seams and funding continues to be constrained. I respectfully ask the board to investigate this issue further and to explore possible solutions that can mitigate overcrowding in this school. Kindly, Francis Turner. And that concludes public comment.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll now review the consent agenda. Board colleagues, please let me know if you have an item you'd like removed, and please state your question for staff. I am going to pull item 8.01 for a presentation on highlights of the Comprehensive Educational Facilities Master Plan. I'm secondarily pulling item 8.03, naming and renaming a school vote facility, Northern High School campus. Oh, I'm sorry, and 8.02 FFA, the renaming of Reginald F. Lewis. Oh, I'm sorry, correction. We are not pulling 8.03, we're just pulling 8.02 for vote. 8.04 is the operator location and waiver requests. 8.05 is policy JICF, the Safe Schools of 2010, destructive illegal group behavior.
Can I pull 8.05 for a question about the compliance report that's going to come at the end and additional information around timing for educational resources being developed for staff at the end of or over the summer?
Got it. All right, we'll make sure staff has that. 8.06, the policy IGE curriculum.
I'd like to pull that.
You please state your question.
Yep. So we got positive feedback about city schools committing to gathering stakeholder feedback. So I'd just like staff to walk us through what that process looks like in practice, how families can find out about proposed adoptions, how they can share input, and how that input factors the final decision.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Esposito. 12.01 is the Library Corporation. 12.02 is VEX Robotics Incorporated, and 15.01 is the University of Baltimore. Now I'm gonna take 8.02, the renaming of the Reginald F. Lewis High School campus for a vote. Is there a motion to approve item number 8.02? Thank you, Commissioner Slater Harrington. Is there a second?
Mohammed.
Thank you, Commissioner Mohammed. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, Commissioner Mohammed.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott Woodruff,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons, and Commissioner Slater Harrington. And I'm in favor. This motion passes. All right. Exciting. All right. All right, we are going to move back to consent to address the items that are pulled here. I'm actually going to save 8.01 for just a second. So let's take 8.05. This is policy JICF. This is the compliance report for Safe Schools 2010. I'll invite staff up for that one.
It's a question. What will be required in the compliance report? It is not.
Okay. All right, we'll have staff come up. All right, Sabrina, welcome. How are you?
Going in the right direction.
So I'm gonna have Commissioner Messenger walk you through.
So first of all, thank you for your work on this. I know it's been a long haul for many different teams. And I want to be respectful of the fact that you're like, this is intentionally done at a high level because it is a policy, but also realizing how this hits the road has a lot of very specific implications over the next year. So two questions. We had a long conversation when I was here for first reader, thinking about kind of there was a lot that was going to be folded into planning and training for both teachers as well as school-based staff, in addition to the full staff rollout. So just a little bit of an update of there's very general language in the red line. So just if you provide a little bit of an update about what that is, and that could just be, we will know by X date, and let us know when to kind of pay back attention for that. And then the second part is looking at, it looks like the compliance report that's required is just with regards to the MSDE regulation. And so was just looking, is that also something that will come to the full board, and what will be included in that compliance report? Is that clear?
Do you want to talk about?
Sorry, that's kind of a lot.
Do you want to talk about the report to MSD first? Because you know what goes into that.
Currently, what goes to MSDE are revisions that we have made to our policy. So we haven't had any revisions in almost 10 years. So we are preparing for that. And then as far as the compliance report, are you asking if we're going to share any type of MSDE reports with the board as well? Just want to make sure I'm understanding your question.
The measure included in the policy for compliance is that the CEO will send the information to MSDE, reporting on the implementation of the policy that is required by law. So I guess was looking at, to this board, what is the policy and what is included in that compliance report? And so will we get that in policy, and will that include, these are the number of times that this process has been triggered, this is the percentage of them that have been closed out, these are the number of safety transfers. I guess the state board is one thing, but what in State Department of Education, what will come to this board in terms of compliance for this policy?
Okay, so the reporting of gang activity is folded into our EBBB incident reporting workflow. So that's certainly a data point that we will share when we share a report around that. And if you want any more specific information, we can just, find out exactly what you're looking for.
I think some of that I'm just interested in the rollout of this. So if you have changes in this first time, because it has been so long since there were changes before, I would be interested to see what that reporting data looks like in the next year and the next 2 years. So if we can maybe flag for the school board staff of however that's going to flow into the compliance calendar, just to flag that we know when that's coming. And then I guess the second thing was just at a high level, thinking about kind of where you are and what's the next steps in terms of training. You had mentioned that this will be part of principal training, which is coming up in like a shocking 4 or 5 weeks. So I guess just kind of where we are in that process and what are the updates for training with regards to JICF.
So there will be a session offered to principals during the June leadership training. And in regards to the all staff compliance training, I'm going to defer to my colleague, the other Barnes.
Yes, so we're in the process of updating the updates to the staff compliance training that we rolled out last school year. So we're making sure that, you know, to the extent that we enhanced anything that wasn't in the training last year, that it's going to be included in the compliance training for this year. So that's happening as well.
Sorry, not to belabor this point, but for the principal training, is it required? And is there the opportunity for designees in the building, especially thinking of high schools where you have a large staff and it might be an AP or someone else that's actually implementing this policy and having to walk through the multiple forms, which you did a beautiful job laying out in the policy, but walking through that process and making sure that those are correctly closed out. Is there an opportunity for designees to participate in that training as well?
The audience. The audience for the June Leadership Institute is inclusive of principals, assistant principals, and resident principals. I'm leaving it alone. We can certainly confirm for you if it's a mandatory session or a choice session. We can get back with you with that information.
Thank you. And I have no further questions.
It's a mandatory session.
All right, thank you. I'm going to invite our folks from Chief Academic Officer's Office. It's been a long changes. So the Chief Academic Officer's Office for 8.06, which is the policy IGE curriculum. So I'm going to excuse you guys, invite up a new team to deal with IGE.
Thank you.
Turn it over to Commissioner Esposito for her question.
Hi. So yeah, we got positive feedback about us gathering stakeholder feedback. And so the question that came back is actually 4 parts. Like, what does the process look like in practice? How do families find out about proposed adoptions? How they can share their input and how that input is then factored into the final decision.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. Casey Davis, Director of Academic Operations. Thank you so much for those questions. Really appreciate it. So stakeholder engagement is a huge part of curriculum adoption here in city schools. Over the course of the past 15 years, all of the curriculum adoptions that I've been involved in, it's been a huge, huge component. It does look different for each one though, as you might expect. Procuring a high school curriculum means that we can talk with high school students about their curriculum. It means, you know, we have different opportunities to engage at the teacher level, the school level, the family, the community level, right? Versus maybe you're not engaging pre-K students in exactly what they want to see in the same way, right? So our engagement does look different. It is always robust, and it can include a variety of modalities of outreach to families, as well as then experiences that stakeholders engage in throughout the process. It really does, though, depend on the solicitation. And so what you saw in the policy wasn't like an explicit outline of what it'll look like every time, but rather a commitment to ensure that we're engaging stakeholders when we are procuring, you know, core curriculum. And I can walk through a few examples. In terms of how folks know, so in most recent history, we use our city schools website. Our content offices are reaching out to teachers. We're reaching out with school leaders. We're engaging school leaders in vetting of materials. We're inviting families to community forums or like road shows that we'll do with our curriculum. So there are lots of ways. We did a great like Facebook forum, for example, when we did our high school curriculum adoption. And that obviously saw a lot of folks because it was accessible. So, you know, we try to engage in multiple ways with folks. And then in terms of how much does that really weigh into final decisions? I'd say significantly. Our community input has actually, you know, geared us to go toward a certain vendor and perhaps away from another. It's critically important to make sure that we have community buy-in, particularly at the student and staff and school leader level, because at the end of the day, they're the ones going to be implementing it and living it every day, as well as our families. So we take their feedback very seriously. And I'm happy to, well, I don't want to regale the committee with like multiple examples, would be happy to share some of those so that you can see the different tangible ways throughout our various adoptions we've done over the course of the past several years, that not only do we reach out, but offer multiple modalities for engagement and feedback and input. I hope that helps. I pass it to Dr. Cuppet if he has other things to add.
Fine for now. Did that get to your questions?
Yeah. Just thinking from the perspective of a parent of a kiddo in city schools, like, is there any, as far as the email addresses that are on record, like, is there any like notifications, like broadly to everyone that exists, just saying like, hey, this is an opportunity? Because I feel like sometimes people that are plugged into like giving feedback, give feedback more often. So I'm just thinking about like how we like bring people in at an entry level.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. With regard to like a blanket email, I'd have to ask the team if that was something that they engaged in for any of those solicitations. I do know that we always reach out to our, you know, our PCAB counterparts, our SCABC, I'm going to get thank you. I'm getting the acronym all mixed up. But we do reach out to them. Again, if I lean into our high school curriculum adoption that we did, we actually engaged with students at the high schools to set up opportunities for us to come in, actually deliver lessons with the new curriculum and get their feedback. So, you know, we're working with our community groups. We're working with the folks that we know can have access to those inroads. I don't want to speak to a blanket email. I don't even know that that would be the most successful avenue to get in touch with folks. But we've definitely used social media. We use our website. We know that folks are on Facebook. So we are leveraging those for sure in order to both message, communicate, and have forums about curriculum adoption. Thank you.
Does that settle that for you? All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much from the CEO's team. Now I'm going to invite up the Office of the Chief Operating Officer for the Comprehensive Education Facilities Master Plan highlights presentation. And so we're going to be looking at a couple of highlights in tonight's overview of the CEFMP. Just to remind board colleagues that the full presentation and the public is included in board docs this evening for review.
Good evening. My name is Maureen Gershberg, and tonight I'll be going over the Comprehensive Educational Facilities Master Plan, otherwise known as the CEFMP, and this will be a brief version. This aligns with Board Priority 3. The CEFMP is a continuous process throughout the school year. What we submit to the state July 1st is just a snapshot of what we're doing. We'll be going over enrollment changes, current and projected utilization, school enrollment patterns, facility conditions and investments, and programmatic alignment. So immigration has declined nationwide. We've seen this at metro areas across the US. If we zoom into the state, Maryland growth was also pretty modest. It was half what it was in the previous year. And a large reason for that is international arrivals were down at least 45% in every county, which the immigration change has been pretty dramatic. So both city population and school enrollment follow a very similar trend. They both started seeing decreases in 2015 and bottomed out a bit in about 2025. Last year, city schools saw an enrollment gain of over 1,000 students for the first time in over 10 years. And this year, there was a relatively minor loss of about 479 students. This map shows the changes in population between in student population from 2016 to 2025, where we saw two very consistent trends that eventually led to that 1,000 student change. Those changes were our Latino student growth and our Black student losses. So Latino student growth was gaining about 9% each year in the prior 9 years. This year, it was less than 1%. We flatlined. From 2016 to 2023, our Black student enrollment was decreasing 3% a year. It was on average about 1,800 students a year that we were seeing. But then last year, we only lost about 475 Black students, and this year it was around 650. And so while losses aren't ideal, those modest losses are much better than those historic losses that we were seeing around 1,800. And so those two factors coupled together led us to that last year where we saw that gain of over 1,000 students, and then continued still a bit this year where we had relatively minor losses. When we look at births, when we look at the CEFMP, because we do enrollment projections, and people are having fewer kids across the board nationwide and here in Maryland. We do a kindergarten capture rate to look to see how many kindergartners there are compared to births 5 years previously. That's a data point that helps inform our projections. For the 10-year enrollment projections, historically, we were forecasting an overall loss of about 5,000 students, but due to last year's gain and this year's relative modest losses, we've decreased that out-year loss to around 1,500. We're hopeful that if our enrollment plateaus out, we can continue that plateau for future years. Our current utilization rate is 87%, but we are projected to decrease to 85% in the out years. Utilization is important. It's a metric that we use when we look at our facilities and then also when we make district decisions. It's pretty nuanced, and there's two ways that we measure utilization. One is by building, and then the other is by geography. Those are pretty important factors when we look at our district as a whole from a utilization lens. This pie chart shows the percentage of square footage per grade band, but you can see that the numbers are very different. So 19 high school buildings have a bigger footprint than 41 elementary buildings. And so those are just some of the nuances that we consider when we look at utilization. This map shows utilization of our zone schools by geography. You can see some of the patterns in this map mimic the population losses that we saw previously. And we've been doing a lot of work through annual review on meeting some of our surplus commitments that we made as part of the 21st Century Buildings Plan, and we've actually gone above that. If we zoom in on that West Baltimore sample that I've outlined in black, you can see we have over 1,500 seats that we've surplused since the start of the program, but the average utilization is still 75%. So we're constantly chasing target utilization rates. When we look at our patterns, you can see there's pockets that are very consistent. So underutilized seats, we can't necessarily move them to areas where they're needed. So a lot of seats in West Baltimore, we can't pick up those seats and move them to Southeast. Rezoning is also not so much an option when all of your adjacent schools are either overcrowded or underutilized. And so we are limited in what we can do when we're trying to balance out utilization at facilities. We have made a lot of progress in surplusing excess buildings since the start of the 21st Century Buildings Plan, over 2.7 million square feet. The next two slides are some considerations that we take into account as we do long-term planning. Guardian and student preferences can make it difficult to predict where seats are needed. About half of our K-5 students are not attending a school that is their zone school. We do consider developments when we are looking at specific building enrollments. One thing to keep in mind is that new developments rarely bring new kids to the district. It's likely poaching students from elsewhere. So we have to keep that in mind when we're looking at our overall projections. The biggest development that is happening on our radar is Perkins Somerset Old Town. And we have a building going in that's twice the size of the existing building, Setting Springs. So we're not too concerned about that development. We are keeping an eye on Keys Point in Southeast. City Schools receives significantly less funding than other LEAs, particularly when you take into account the need. Baltimore City has recently increased the amount that it was giving us for our CIP. They're going to be up to $40 million in the out years. But even then, you can see with just the amounts that are available, we are still far behind some of our counterparts in what we receive per pupil for capital funding. The CEFMP is a resource documenting analysis, decisions, and outcomes. As I referenced earlier, a lot of the data and analysis that we do within the CEFMP helps to support district initiatives like the high school plan, there is CTE programming, there's program relocation, and then also annual review each year. I always like to end my presentations with a plug for our Hub dashboard interactive map site. A lot of good information, PDFs from last year's CEFMP, and we'll be updating that and the interactive maps shortly this summer. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I turn it over to Commissioner Mohammed for first question.
More of a statement, just want to give thanks and shout out to this amazing resource dashboard. Since you've presented it, it's just an amazing option for when we're having these conversations and we want to talk to community members or city officials around some of the decisions we're making. Being able to go to this as a reference has been very helpful. So I want to thank you for your work.
Thank you. I have a really great team that makes it happen.
Additional comments or questions from board colleagues? Thank you so much, Maureen. I appreciate the presentation this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic work. So we'll put 8.01 back inside the consent agenda. Just want to make sure we didn't have anything else additional pulled for comment or question. Nope. All right. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Ames Messenger.
Thank you so much. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Coy? Yes. Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay? Commissioner Mohammed? Commissioner Scott Woodruff? Commissioner Ames Messenger? I'm sorry, Commissioner Simmons? Commissioner Slater Harrington? And I'm in favor. This motion passes. Now turn it over for item number 6.01 to Dewana Surratt to lead us through the session 2026 legislative wrap up. And Dewana is playing a dual role tonight, not only sitting in and filling in for our board executive, but her normal job as heading up all of our work in the legislative session on behalf of the board. So welcome.
No. Tanisha will be assisting me with the PowerPoint. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, school board members. Oh, I'm going to pull it closer. I'll start over. Told you that's why she's assisting me with the PowerPoint. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, school board members, and Madam Chief of Staff. I'm Dewana Merritt Surratt, the Executive Director of Legislative and Government Affairs. And tonight I will present the end of session of 2026 legislative presentation for the school board, to the school board. This presentation, Tanisha, you can go to the next slide. I will not speak all night. I could talk about this all day long. So I will try to keep my comments brief. You have the larger document on the website. On Board Docs, and then it will be on the website for all people in the public to see after tonight. But just so to give you a quick overview, there were over 2,700 bills introduced this legislative session. 1,600 House bills and a little over 1,000 Senate bills were introduced. And we tracked over 350 bills that had an impact on education policy or business operations or funding. Next slide. So this presentation, I decided to break it up into a really short thing about funding. You had your presentation on the budget at your last board meeting, so I won't go into detail, but I just wanted to give you kind of a quick overview. Some important legislation, board committees that may be interested in specific pieces of legislation and policy implications that came out of this session that the board should consider, and possible reintroductions for next session. Next slide. So if you recall, we began the legislative session with the state having a approximately $1.56 billion budget shortfall. With various maneuvering from the governor and the General Assembly, we were able to end the state budget with an actual surplus or structural cash balance of about $201 million. And we reduced the structural deficit for the outer years. However, I do predict that next year we will be in the same situation when we come to session with a state budget shortfall. And if you recall, the blueprint is funded through FY27, that's this year. Next year, they predicted we would have to start using some general funds, which means that next year will be a very tough year for the blueprint. So I just want to prepare everyone for that. So I also wanted to say how much, so you could see how much the state provides our funding out of our total $1.95 billion budget. 1.2 about comes from the state share, the local share, which is from Baltimore City. That's basically their maintenance of effort of $392 million, which between the total state and local is about $1.7 billion comes from the state and local governments. I also wanted to talk to you about capital, the CIP. Last I checked, the 90% CIP, Baltimore City is scheduled to receive $25.7 million. It might change. The 100% amount will be released this month. I don't think it will go up much higher than that. That CIP of 25 million was the 75% number, and it was a 90% number. So I don't know how much more we would get once it hits 100%. Also, the Nancy Cott Priority Facility Fund, that is a capital fund that replaces the Healthy School Facility Fund. If you recall, the Healthy School Facility Fund was a fund that provides funding for jurisdictions to help with air and heat and mold remediation. And it was a $90 million fund that sunset at the end of FY26. We received $45 million of that 90 million. However, because of the budget issues that the state had, they did not continue with the Healthy School Facility Fund. But I am glad to say, or to see that with our advocating for our facilities, that we did receive 16 million of the 70 million. And that was split because they gave the House 35 million and the Senate 35 million to decide how they would spend it. Next slide. We also received through our advocating $9 million additional in capital funds to help with HVAC issues, and also an additional $9.85 million that comes from the utility relief bill that we all heard them talking about in session about the energy relief. We're getting $9.85 billion to address our HVAC issues in our 21st century buildings facilities. And also the General Assembly set aside $150,000 to go to the comptroller's office so that the comptroller can look and study to determine what caused the HVAC issues. So they felt that she was a neutral party in this matter to kind of be able to give us a report out on what happened. Bond bills, every General Assembly session, the governor sets aside money for our senators and delegates to provide additional funding to various programs and entities and organizations. In previous years, I remember way back when Norm Conway was chair of appropriations, he would never let schools receive any funding because they said they have the CIP. But in recent years, this has changed, and we have many schools. And in your larger document, it lists about 2 pages worth of schools that will receive bond bills with various funding. For example, Edmondson Westside will get $1 million to help with some of their renovations. The Green School is charter and traditional schools. The Green School is getting money. Sinclair Lane is getting about $100,000 or $150,000 to help with their lockers. So there's a lot of programs added, a lot of schools with additional capital funding. Next slide, please. So I also wanted to break up the document into priorities that we went to the session with, so the board would understand what we wanted to get out of the session and what we actually were able to get from the session. Counting poverty, that's always been an issue, trying to figure out how we accurately count poverty so that we can get appropriate funding for our schools. Senate Bill 311, which was the blueprint revision bill, that will now require the AIB, the Accountability Implementation Board, and MSDE, the Maryland State Department of Education, to research and review and determine how to count poverty accurately. They gave, it was the methodology to count poverty was sunsetting at the end of this year, but they extended it for another year to give them time to review how they can come with a better methodology to support counting poverty. It also repeals the sunset to allow the use of our concentration of poverty grant dollars to be used for fine arts programs. That was something that this school system pushed heavily. It was supposed to sunset this year, but it is moving on in forever. They removed the sunset and they did not place another on there. Next slide. The other priority we had was the Maggie McIntosh Arts Program. If you recall, a few years ago, Baltimore City was granted $5 million for 3 years to help with art, to build out art class spaces. And last year that was not funded because of the budget issues. But this year with our advocacy, we were able to get the additional $5 million placed back into the budget. And also $250,000 will be given to Arts Every Day in conjunction with Baltimore City Schools to help supply the art rooms. Charter schools, we were always focused on charter schools because we have most charters in the state of Maryland. House Bill 1430, Senate Bill 960 passed. This will provide charter schools. Every child in a charter school will receive an additional $200 per pupil for maintenance and operation of their facilities. This $200 per pupil goes directly to the charter school, and it's about a $5 million program in total. And it includes some limiting language on the distribution of those funds. If the state capital funding is reduced, the per pupil for the charter schools must be reduced proportionately. And I know our chief of staff is looking at me, but we'll move on to the next slide, please. Other things about transportation, that's always been a big issue for Baltimore City. While this doesn't deal with our partnership with MTA, it does allow the school system and all school systems to use other vehicles other than type 1 and type 2, which are yellow buses, to transport our students. And this is really important because we need different types of buses for when we transport, and smaller buses and smaller vehicles, alternative vehicles when we transport our homeless students, our special education students. So this remove the sunset, and this is something that Baltimore City pushed several years ago to allow these alternative vehicles. And I'm glad the General Assembly decided that it could go into practice forever. We just need to have a report on the use of those vehicles in January 2027. And when I say us, I mean the State Department of Education. Next slide. Again, the blueprint, it made several changes this year. It expanded the definition of community schools, which basically allows us to use wraparound services that are in for tutoring. Dual enrollment was a big issue this session. A lot of the larger jurisdictions like Montgomery County and also Howard County, they have a large dual enrollment population, and because of the costs associated with the dual enrollment, that the General Assembly realized that we could start limiting the number and types of courses that students take. Next slide. Some local issues that failed, Senate Bill 554, which was the Baltimore City School Board Appointment Bill that was introduced by Senator Hayes, that would have removed the community panel and also required Senate confirmation for school board members. After several amendments, it passed out of the Senate, but it did not move out of the House, and I won't go into it in detail because the bill did fail. The other bill is Senate Bill 454. This is about the school police. I put this bill here because the last several years, Senator Jennings has introduced this bill, and it requires that all school police carry their firearms at all times. And it is really a local issue that should be just addressed by Baltimore City and our delegation, because the only jurisdiction this impacts is Baltimore City. And I say this because I think it's time that Baltimore City Board and the incoming CEO take a look at this issue, because there are a lot of our state delegates and senators are looking at this issue as well, and we don't want something done to us. We should participate. The last time we really reviewed this was in 2008. We actually had citywide community forums about the school police and what we should and should not do. Should they be armed? Should they not be armed? And what conditions and should be held, and how we should move about having our school police. And at that time, it was really a 50-50, so there were no changes. But I think this issue is going to keep bubbling up until some decisions are made, one way or the other. Next slide. Next slide. This is when I talk about the board committees that would be interested in certain pieces of legislation. You wouldn't necessarily have to do anything. It could be instances where you just want to get updates on what's happening. The Maryland Civic Excellence Program, this requires the state board to establish criteria to award a seal of excellence or civic excellence on a high school diploma. And so once they develop this criteria, we probably will need to do something with our policies to ensure that the students are being given an opportunity to get the award from the State Department. Senate Bill 263, this is for military active service members. We need to develop policies for advanced enrollment. As you know, military service members, when they move about, they know that they're getting general orders to go to different places. This allows them to reach out to a school system in advance to say that their child is coming, and it helps us get the enrollment process in place. So we will need to, if we do not have that already, procedures put in place and policies put in place to deal with that. Next slide. The telecommunications cell phone bill, as I call it, we had a lot of bills the previous years about the cell phones and whether kids should carry those during the day, and how we should, if we don't want them carrying them during the day, how we should put them up. And this bill, like the bill as presented, our school system really does have pretty much everything that this bill requires. The only thing that I can recall that this bill does not have is, or that our policy does not have, is that the policy does not allow you to suspend a student for violating it. And I think we have that as one of our one of those areas, one of those things that we can do if a student does violate it. So I think we need to just kind of look up and amend that out. For our student attendance, this is the House Bill 575. This is allowing an excused absence for a student that participates in any civic engagement, and that could be from testifying at the General Assembly to being a page in the Maryland General Assembly. And we have to make sure that they have an excused absence. Next slide. For AI, this requires the State Department of Education to put forth guidance on AI and how it should be used in school systems with educators. And once they adopt this guideline, the school system has 120 days after that to make a policy. And cybersecurity, House Senate Bill 601. This requires each school system to designate a cybersecurity contact and to ensure that we're complying with the state's minimum cybersecurity rules and regulations, and also requires an assessment of our cybersecurity every 2 years. Next slide. Oh, and I didn't say which. You can see I didn't read which committee it is, but it's right there on. If you want to take note of that. The public school contract, this is something that our own Josh Sivan, our Chief Legal Officer, was really fervent about and pushed to ensure that contracts that school systems have, just like other state contracts, does not require it to do things that would be a hindrance, such as having certain things in contracts to say, for example, that if we have an issue that we have to have a state such in another state court to decide that controversy. So we're in Maryland, it should be a Maryland state court, it shouldn't be another state court. So it ensures that there's some uniformity and some ability to ensure that contracts are fair for school systems. And this is something that other state entities have done in previously, and we modeled this bill after those. And House Bills 856 and Senate Bill 648. This is something that would require MSDE to register and to also pay for each school system to become a member of a national organization that does a clearinghouse and screens all its candidates before hiring. From what I'm told from Chief Nielsen, we were already paying for this clearinghouse, so now we don't have to pay for it. The State Department picks up that payment, and we save some money by doing this. Next slide. There's a lot of words up here, but basically this bill just includes now school boards to ensure that they send a report to MSDE on the number of students that are I'm sorry, the number of students that are in grade 3 literacy and are successful. And also it has some other things in there where MSDE has to adopt regulations and deadlines to look at the report on the numbers of parents that are given notification of students that are attending pre-K. Next slide. Senate Bill 48 and House Bill 233. This was introduced by the IAC. They have made huge sweeping changes to their operations of capital improvement program. And one of note is that we now are moving away, or they will be moving away from the December 31st, 75% CIP approval. What they will do now, instead of saying at December 31st, this is what you may get based on the prospective CIP for the state. Every few months, they will be giving reports to our facility planners to see where they are in the process for each of the projects that they have delivered to the IAC for approval. And the IAC, when it was first introduced, it was not the best bill, but they did work with our facility planners. And throughout the course of the session, we were able to come up with something that was fair and reasonable for all. Next slide. This bill is the new accountability system for the state of Maryland. This changes the old structure where we were looking at just one test to determine the proficiency of schools, where now we can look at things such as student growth to ensure that it's not just what we are now, but how students are improving along the way, which is very important. And the star rating, and not just using one star rating to determine the efficiency and efficacy of schools. And so this is a very large bill, a very comprehensive bill that I think our teaching and learning and strategic planning committees really should look into and hear from throughout the course of the next year. Next slide. So for school safety, there's been a lot of talk about immigration. And so the General Assembly was very concerned about issues with coming to the doorsteps of schools. So it really just wanted to amplify that if there should ever be an immigration officer coming to a school, that they must notify the superintendent and they cannot participate and give any confidential information about students. And while I don't think any school district does this, violates this, but they wanted to put it in law. The other issue we have here is Senate Bill 507 and House Bill 311, dealing with students with disabilities. This was basically to ensure that there's emergency plans in place for students when there are issues that occur at a school, such as a fire, so that we have plans so that students can get out. Next slide. The bullying and harassment form, this is just really if they want to add another section on the bully and harassment form that requires us to determine how and if a incident was motivated in whole or in substantial part by some preconceived or personal characteristic. And they just want to note that on the harassment form. Next slide. And this is one that, we really didn't understand why they wanted this, but in the Joint Chairman's Report, they indicated that they want to find out the credentials and professional development and qualifications of all our chief financial officers in the school systems. My guess is that something happened somewhere and they just want to check that everybody is credentialed properly and gets professional development. Next slide. And this is it. I'm coming to the end. So these are the bills that failed and that may be reintroduced. Of these up here, the biggest one is the Open Meetings Act. That bill didn't pass just because they ran out of time. I mean, everybody was on board with it, and the bill would basically, we do everything they have in there, where we would have to live stream your meetings. You would have to when you upload the meetings, you could not edit those meetings. At first, they would not let you edit them at all, but we advocated that for the instance that happened with us last year, we would need to edit. We could not just put something up that could be inappropriate. So that bill will definitely come back next year. And the other two bills are just for equal protection for students, House Bill 649, and the Senate Bill 904. That's really just a bill to, and I think that will come back definitely too, about professional development for our PSRP workers and for our workers that support our support staff in our schools. And that's it. I tried to move fast because I know the time is late and it's not the most exciting stuff for everyone.
No, it's very important work. I mean, I just want to lift up just the work that you do and also Melissa Broom
Yes.
to really support the legislative agenda of the district. It is critically and vitally important, as we've seen, for the number of issues that were highlighted tonight in the CEF&P and other areas in our operation. So we do appreciate the legislative efforts that you both lead, and Allison's participation as well. And so those things are really important for us in terms of ensuring our kids have a fair shake. Are there any questions or comments from our board colleagues?
I do want to publicly thank Melissa Broom because I think we're a very good team and we work well together. And she's my partner in crime in Annapolis.
Love
So,
it.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Yes, sir.
So I just want to take the opportunity to thank Dewana for her work in Annapolis. I think it's easy because we don't see it and we're not around. The strategic foresight that she has in preparing for these bills. What you often see, we see that bills come by and they're pretty much aligned with our policies. I want us to be clear that they don't start that way. She is an amazing advocate in that room, and Mabe leans on her leadership. So when it comes to policy development and we're looking at what's coming out of Mabe, it looks like Baltimore's policy because Dewana is the person that's really steering the ship. So some of the things we're going to win, sometimes we're going to lose, but please know, as long as she's in that room, more than likely we're winning. So I want to thank you for your leadership and the impact of the work that you do. That's really, majority of us don't get to see it. I get a bird's eye view being on the legislative committee, but just want to thank you and make sure that everyone knows that, the impact that you have in Annapolis, we get to feel within our policies every day. Because trust and believe, there are a lot of districts that aren't always happy with the way that the state supports our needs.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mohammed.
Thank
Anything additional from
Thank
board
you.
colleagues? Right. Thank you, Dewana. We appreciate your work throughout this year and look forward to next year's cycle. Here we go. Our last item is a written update only to the board. We will not be presenting it tonight, which is item 6.02. It's the FY26 Q3 financial briefing. This is also included in board docs. As we wrap up tonight, our notice of upcoming meetings includes the Operation Committee meeting on May 26th. Policy will be the same day in the afternoon on May 26th. Our next in-person and last board meeting of the school year is June 2nd, 2026. And just a double down reminder for the board and our community on the Heart of the Schools award ceremony tomorrow night at the Hippodrome, right? Did I get that right? Looking forward to it. It is a great way to honor this year's awardees. Is there a motion to adjourn this evening?
So moved.
Thank you. I'll take, I only heard the vice chair. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll take Esposito. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We stand adjourned. Good night.